Yo, what's up everybody, Nightrain here, and today I want to talk about Elden Ring Nightreign. So let's get into it. I've been hearing a lot of crap about Elden Ring Nightreign, and I've been hearing mixed things. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not really sure about Elden Ring Nightreign, like I don't know if it's gonna be any good. Or I've even heard some people be like, I feel ripped off, and it's like, you feel ripped off? Really? What are you talking about? So a lot of the contention that people have been having with Elden Ring Nightreign is that they feel like they're being ripped off somehow because Elden Ring Nightreign is essentially Elden Ring and all of its assets just kind of remixed, and it's got some bosses from the previous games in there, and people think that is just like some people have been calling it a cash grab. And I am flabbergasted by that because, like, the person in particular is Luke Stevens, and Luke Stevens is a big time YouTuber, and he does a lot of like gaming news stuff. He actually does make great content. I gotta say, like the guy deserves credit. Like, he makes great content, and I definitely feel like his opinions, although valid, but his opinions on Souls games in particular are very casual opinions. And I know that's a really elitist thing to say, but if you have played any of the FromSoftware games to any degree where you feel like you've put in like more time than the average person, you can definitely tell when people who talk about these games have really played them or not. And for me personally, he definitely falls in that category. And this video isn't just to knock him. He really did nothing wrong, but like, he was one of those people that was like, oh, like, I feel like it's a cash grab. And it's like, bitch, like, have you even played these games? Like, I'm sure you've booted up Elden Ring. I'm sure maybe you've gotten through a few bosses. Has he beaten the campaign? I don't know. Questionable. Maybe he has. But there are lots of big time YouTubers who you would think like play these games big time, but like, let's use Maximilian Dude as an example. Maximilian Dude, big time YouTuber, has done a lot of content, mostly does fighting game content and like Final Fantasy game content. Those are his two like main games, but he does do like Bloodborne. Like, he's done playthroughs of all of the major FromSoftware games. When he booted up Shadow of the Erdtree, like getting ready to play it, he had not touched the game since it released. And that's the case for a lot of big time YouTubers. And again, nothing wrong with that. I'm glad they played the game, but they're speaking as if they're experts on these games when they're not. You played it once, you enjoyed your playtime. Do you know about the game? Yes, somewhat, but you are not an expert in it. And what I'm getting at with this huge rant is that, like, it's when people like that say things like Elden Ring Nightreign is a cash grab, it kind of chaps my ass, because I think it's the furthest thing from a cash grab, and here are my reasons for it. So for me, examples of cash grabs are The Last of Us Part 1. I think that is a complete and utter fucking cash grab. Like, that game did not need a remaster of any kind. There was already The Last of Us Remastered on the PS4, which was totally remastered. And The Last of Us Part 1 is just like an even shinier coat of paint on top of that. It's not that big. They say that they like incorporated some of the elements from The Last of Us Part 2. I don't know. I haven't played any of those games, but when I look at side-by-sides, I'm like, I feel like that's a ripoff. If it was $10, yeah, okay, that's cool. But it was not $10. They charged full price for that bitch. That's a cash grab. I think The Last of Us Part 2 remastered that's coming out on PC soon, cash grab. I feel like the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, cash grab. Like, a remaster of a game from 2017, that's a cash grab. Elden Ring Nightreign, a completely new game that's going to cost $40. It's going to cost the same price as a DLC, and There is nothing in it that we've ever experienced before. The only thing that we've experienced are the assets and some of the NPCs. Fair. So people are like, oh, well, I've seen these NPCs before. Yeah, that part kind of sucks. But there's going to be new stuff in there as well. There's new playable characters. It's no characters that we've seen before. Will they have some attributes that we're familiar with? Of course they will. It's like going from like Tekken 6 to Tekken 7. It's just like, do they still punch and kick in both those games? Yes. Does that let you down? No. Are there going to be different abilities between the two games? Of course. And it's the same with Elden Ring Nightreign. So let's warp to like... I've been playing too much Bloodborne on PC, so it's been a while. Let's go to Limgrave. So it's like, let's hop on Limgrave here, and I'm using my like total cheese build with the chicken wing and the Rakasha set, of course. This was for my easy mode guide. But like, yeah, are we gonna see a lot of this in Elden Ring Nightreign? So like the same grass, the same kind of like architecture that's fallen from Farum Azula, like the same trees and shit? Yes, we're gonna see this, but is it gonna be the exact same map layout? No, it's not Limgrave, it's... what is it, Lingrave, or like it's slightly different. Why I don't think it's a cash grab, and I really want to emphasize this, is Miyazaki can't direct every single FromSoftware game. He damn near tried, but he can't do it. He's the CEO of the company now. Is he still gonna like direct his mainline games? Yes, but he needs to give other people in that company a chance. And I want to bring up a couple of things. So while companies have been doing remasters of games that don't need remasters and putting out dog shit PC ports of said game, The Last of Us Part 1, complete dog shit PC port, and took them months, if not a whole year, to get it to where it should be, and charging full price for that. Those same studios also laid people off in the last 2 years. They had layoffs. FromSoftware has not had to do any rounds of layoffs that I'm aware of. I don't think there's any reportings of FromSoftware doing any sort of layoffs. In fact, FromSoftware has been hiring. They've been hiring, and they even gave their employees raises. So that just goes to show you the difference in how they run their company. So they are definitely smart, and they make sure that they don't overstep where they have to do layoffs. Where like a lot of these companies, if their game isn't like a fucking mega blockbuster, they're like in the red and they have to lay everyone off. And that can't be good for your studio. And you're seeing that in like places like Ubisoft. Like they're just hitting the shitter right now, and they're probably gonna get bought out by Tencent any month now. But FromSoftware has not had to do that. And how do they do that? So one, Miyazaki can't direct all of his games. So what is he doing? Did a mass amount of hiring, and he's starting to trust other new up-and-coming directors to start their own projects. And so he had a different director do Armored Core 6, and they did a fantastic job. I've brought up many times in the comments that like Armored Core 6, it rocks. It plays at 120 FPS. It's their first game to go above 60 FPS. It also supports ultra-wide support on PC. Fantastic. It's got great features, and it doesn't have a lot of the frame pacing issues that their games suffer from. So I really think that they're getting the kinks out of their engine that they use. Hopefully we'll see that in Nightrain. I'm not positive though, because Shadow of the Erdtree was just the same as Elden Ring. So we'll see, fingers crossed. But again, different director that worked on Armored Core 6. Nightrain has a brand new director directing that. So what better way to give somebody a project that's not going to cost the company a lot of money? So instead of having to spend a bunch of money creating a whole new game world, because this shit costs money, like designing a map and like filling it full of stuff, that costs millions and millions of dollars. So instead of recreating a whole map and assets and designing and art, all that stuff, just take what you already have, it's in the same game engine, take the same assets, and just rearrange them. Just do a remix. Just do like essentially what a mod does. Play around with it, spin it around, make something new out of it. I think that's a fucking sweet idea. It gives you something new with with some of the same shit, and you can make something totally different out of it. And that's what they've done. It's not going to play like Elden Ring. It's going to be like an action game. All of the different characters that you're going to be able to play have different like attributes. They're kind of like heroes in a hero shooter game. And I think it's a really cool spin. And yeah, it's got a bunch of the bosses from Elden Ring and from the Dark Souls series. Does that disappoint me? No, not really. I think it's just like playing the greatest hits of the series, and it's just like getting to fight them again, but in a new FromSoftware game with this speed and dynamics of Elden Ring, if not better. I think that's going to be cool, like going back and taking on some of those like slower bosses, like the centipede demon and shit. I think that's just going to be a blast. Are they going to throw in some new stuff? Absolutely. We've even seen new bosses in the trailer that we got that are not in any other Souls game, so there is new stuff, but they're reusing a lot of old stuff. Does that make me feel ripped off or like they're getting a cash grab? No, they're charging less money for it. It's $40. And I think it's going to be a great experience, because I brought this up before, but one of my biggest complaints about Elden Ring or even any of the Souls games, if I just want to drop in for 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, you can't really do that. You can do what I'm doing now and just like warp to an area and just like kill all these bullshit mob enemies with your super overpowered weapon like I'm doing. But it's like, yeah, this is fun for some people, but for me, no. Like, what if I want to play a specific boss? Like, what if I want to like go through and I want to take on Godric, but I've already killed Godric? My two options are, one, I can go through a new game plus cycle and then go to Godric, or I can just start a new save file. But like, what if I don't have time to do all that and I just want to go to that boss right away? So that's where I think Nightrain is going to fit in super amazingly, is because it's these shorter chunks. It's going to be like a roguelite, where the whole point is you're in a like procedurally generated section of like a Limgrave-esque map that's slowly closing in, and the point is just to like just mash through a bunch of enemies as quickly as you possibly can, and then at the end you fight a random boss. I think that sounds awesome. And then after 3 bosses, maybe it's 3 different biomes, maybe they take you to like a Caelid-like place, or who the hell knows. And then you go through all that, and then you fight like something completely different. Like, I think that'll be so rad. And the fact that it's $40 is awesome, because they're just like, hey, we know this isn't a mainline game of ours, but we want you to try this out. So here, $40. I think that is so much easier to comprehend than a fucking game that's being remastered that came out 5 years ago or 8 years ago now. And it's like, yeah, 2017 is a while ago now, but when you look at the Horizon Zero Dawn game before it was remastered, you're like I kind of get it. Like, I get what they're going for. There's nothing here that really like screams out-of-date graphics. And they're remastering that, and you look at the remaster and it's just like, yeah, okay, like you added a bit more foliage to places, and then maybe like you change up some sky maps a little bit, and you redid the fucking mocap for the cutscenes. It's like, great. Does that like insanely enhance my gameplay experience for that 2017 game? No, it doesn't. Maybe if it's a PS3 game that no one can play anymore because no one's on that console, and you're redoing it with modern graphics, then yeah, that's gonna, and then maybe adding some quality of life improvements, yeah, that's a game that's worthy of doing like a remake or a remaster. Demon Souls remake, or even like a great example is the Metroid Prime remaster. Great remaster. They modernized the controls, they give it like all HD graphics, made it widescreen, plays like a dream. Great game to remaster, but that game was from 2001, or if not 2000. So that game definitely needed a remaster, not games from 2017. That's kind of my ramble. I just wanted to say that I think Elden Ring Nightreign is going to kick ass, and I'm super looking forward to it. And if you're a real FromSoftware fan, you're definitely going to give it a try. Signups for the network test are in a couple of days. Highly recommend you give it a try.